everybody, MDpolo here at Range USA in Carmel, Indiana with the FN Reflex. It's got a holosun mounted on top. We're shooting 115 grain MagTech. We're about 7 yards out. Let's see how we do. That's 11 rounds through the FN Reflex. It's pretty snappy to be expected. We'll go over it at the tabletop. Pretty darn accurate. Look, take a look. Not bad. It is safe, unloaded. Drop the mag. Nothing in it. Not bad at all for the FN Reflex. Now let's go to the tabletop. Today we're going to take a look at the FN Reflex. There's something about the FDE color on this gun that it does not show very well through the camera. So I'm going to do my best to try to keep it close to you because that's where we get the best representation of what the color really is, but it's a lot lighter than it looks on camera. And this is my second camera that I tried doing this video with, because with the other cameras actually it looks more green. So I'm not sure if somebody can tell me if they know how to do this and make it show the correct color. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but here it is, the FN Reflex. I first saw it last year at the NRA show in Indianapolis, and I was very, very excited about this. It took a long time before we saw him locally, and actually just in the last couple of months, believe it or not. And people have told me, well, if you want something, just go online and buy it. But I like to buy firearms where I can see them, I can hold them before, see how they fit in my hand, and also I like to support my local gun shops. So I'm very happy waiting for them and not buying them online. But this one's not mine. It belongs to my friend Carl. And he bought it. He was very excited about this. And he's had a lot of problems with it. And we'll go through that. I'm sure that if you have been watching videos about the Reflex, you've seen some people love him, but also some people have had a lot of problems with it. So I'm going to give you a brief, what is this? For those of you that may not know this gun, and by the way, it is empty. It's got a couple snap caps in there. And but I'll give you a brief history of what it is, some specs. Then we're going to jump onto what some of the problems have been, what Carl has experienced with it, what my experience has been with it. And also, this gun went back to FN for repairs or tried to diagnose what the issues were. And I'll let you know what FN said about it. So what I'm going to do, I'll put some notes in at the bottom and let you know what the timeline is if you want to jump around. But it is a 9mm and it is a single action hammer fired gun. So it's not a striker fire, although it looks like it would be, but it's not. It's got an internal hammer, single action only. It's got a 3.3-inch barrel with a capacity of 11 or 15 rounds in 2 metal mags. The one you see here right now, it's got a flush base plate, and that's the 11-round mag. And you can also include it. I don't have the box here. Like I said, this belongs to Carl. But you can either install the flat base plate like this, or it has one that has a little pinky extension. And we'll talk about that because some people may believe that that could be one of the culprits to the issues that people are having. So 2 mags, 11 or 15 plus 1. So that's very nice, a lot of capacity. It is very thin. At the widest point, it's 1 inch wide. So it's about the width, exactly the width of a SIG P365. The MSRP on this comes at $599, although your mileage may vary depending on your location. We can see them a little bit more expensive where we are, and you may see it a little cheaper where you are. Okay, so one of the issues that has come up with this is that it's ammo sensitive. Unlike other micro compacts that you can just load whatever you want to and go to town, that this is actually ammo sensitive. So my friend Carl has had not only ammo sensitivity with his gun, but also lots of stovepipes, jams, shooting low and left, and he sent it to FN for repairs and diagnosis. And FN was actually, not only they took their sweet little time with this, but they didn't, when they sent it back, they didn't give Carl any explanation of what was done or what was the diagnosis. He had to call them back and basically pry it out of them. And just to make a long story short-ish, is that they told him that there was no problem with this. They shot American Eagle at 124, and they had absolutely zero problems. FN also told him that he should not be shooting 115 grain through this, that he should be shooting 124 grain, which I personally think it's unacceptable. Especially in today's world, today's technology, with the amount of firearms that are out there that will just eat and spit out everything you put through them. For a military contractor like FN to come out and say, oh no, our gun, for self-defense should only fire 124 grain. So I think that answer, if true, is 100% unacceptable. So my friend Carl has been shooting this gun. I've seen him at the range. He's got his little notepad next to him. He's been documenting not only how many rounds he's put through this gun, but also when he's had failures. And the failure rate that he's been having with this is just astronomical and unacceptable. I put about 150 rounds through the FN Reflex, and I had zero malfunctions. Now, I shot 115 grain, 124 grain, and also I shot some of those Fort Scott munition, the tumble upon impact that I love so much, 80 grain, and zero problems. So 150 rounds total. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But just to give you an idea, the slide is a stainless steel slide with PVD finish. The color is more of a sand FDE, kind of like military boot color, and it's not as, it's got sort of a green tint, a green hue on camera. So it's more, if you picture what a military boot looks like, that's pretty much what this looks like in real life. So like I mentioned earlier, the slide is 1 inch wide, just like a P365. It's got very nice front and rear serrations. They're not going to be too sharp, but they're very usable. I like the way they work. On this side, you can see it's got an external extractor, and that does not double as a loaded chamber indicator. For that, you can see here, you got the little peephole right there, where you can check whether you have a loaded chamber or not. The sight system I like quite a bit. So if you can see here is just a standard 3-dot sight in the back, and up front it's got a nice orange sight dovetailed in with tritium in the middle. The rear sights are not tritium, but the front one is. I like it a lot. On top here, Carl's got a Holosun mounted on it, and I don't have my glasses with me, but I think it's a 407K X2, and it works really well because it's a direct slide mounted red dot. See if the focus will catch up. And as always, the camera doesn't like the red dots, but it sits right on the slide, and you can almost co-witness just barely the top of the sights, but metal sights. And I actually enjoy shooting this gun better without the red dot and just using the regular 3-dot sights. The barrel is cold hammer forged and has got a slight crown on it. Let's see which side is going to give you a little bit more light. I changed a bit the lighting system to try to capture the correct color. So there you can see that's got the target crown, and it's got a very nicely polished feed ramp inside. The frame is polymer. It's a very busy frame, and the texture is actually made in the molding process itself. And it's very good texture. I like it quite a bit. A little bit more sandpaper finish. Not as rough as the M&P, but very nice. And I like the fact that they send it all the way to the top. And actually here you get to see a little bit more of the true color of the gun. That's pretty much what it looks like. So it's got nice texture all the way to on the sides, on both sides, with the FN logo. And the rear and front has, let's see where I can see it better. Right there. It's got like little vertical rectangles all the way around. So it's nice texture. I like it. I like the way it feels in my hand. The gun doesn't go anywhere. You got a single slot rail up front. I haven't had, none of the lights that I have will fit. So I guess you need a really small light up there. You got your regular slide stop. You got your takedown lever. And you got a nicely done mag release right here. You can get a little bit more. There you go. So you can see it's almost like a teardrop shape that is textured and is, you know, cuddled right here very nicely with this indentation, this cut. So I've got zero issues reaching it, and the mag just flies out of there. Those are the snap caps. YouTube, that's not a live bullet. There you go. So speaking of the mag release, it is reversible, but not ambi right out of the box. The controls also very nice. You can see, hopefully you can see the feed ramp. Not sure if you're going to be able to see the feed ramp in there. You can see a little bit in there. And there's your barrel. The plastic guide rod. So now we're going to load the dummy round. So now the gun is charged. And now let's talk about the trigger. Single action only. Like I said, internal hammer. And the trigger is very, very smooth. So here you are at the wall. And then you push through the wall. It's a 5-pound brake. And boom. And then out goes the snap cap. There's another one right behind it. And look at the reset. So it's a little longer than I would like, but then you're immediately at the wall. And boom. There goes the other snap cap. All the way out almost, and then in. There goes the other snap cap, so I had 3 in there. And let me see if I can show you. You can see a little bit there of the polish chamber. So the mags, it comes, like I mentioned, with this 11 round with a flat base plate, or you get the 15 rounder. Now this is another thing. When Carl got this gun, the sleeve that is supposed to come with a 15 rounder to, you know, the spacer, did not come with the gun. It was just the mag without the spacer. So then, once again, he had to call FN and get him to send him the spacer, which they did. But I'm not sure how they let a pistol go out without that. And this is what it looks like with a spacer. So now you got 15 rounds. It looks kind of funky, but you got, at least with my medium hands, I got plenty of room to shoot right now. So that's very comfortable. This is not the way I would carry it if I chose to carry this gun, but there you have it with the 15 rounds. There's a lot of capacity for this little pistol. Now, as far as holsters, I've heard a lot about Muddy River tactical holsters. I've never had one of their holsters. I've been curious about them, but that's what Carl carries it in. So here you have by Muddy River Tactical, you can see here. And this is their Kydex in I think Army or olive green, I'm not sure what they call it. But it's very comfortable. This is their tuckable, so you can tuck your shirt right in there. And with the FN, it works beautifully. I like the contrasting colors as well. It's cut for the red dot. As you can see there, the fit is just very, very nice. So I like it. It was comfortable. I may get in touch with them and see if I can start testing a couple holsters from them. So some of the things I've been hearing on YouTube about this gun has got to be that it shoots low and left, that it's jamming a lot, that the customer service from FN has been horrible. Basically blaming the clients for anything that might be wrong with a gun. And when, like I said, when Carl sent it in for service and diagnosis of the problems, once he called them back to see what had happened, because they did not include any documentation on what they did, is they just blamed him, and that he didn't know basically what he was doing, and they blamed the ammo. They told him not to use 115 grain, only 124 grain. So let me know what you think about that answer down there. Like I said, I fired 150 rounds through it, but I had zero problems. The other thing they told him was that this gun requires anywhere between 200 and 300 rounds break-in period. Now, not only I don't see why that would be necessary, but also the fact that they don't let you know about it. I went through the book, and unless I missed it, I don't see any mention whatsoever of a break-in period needed for this gun. I mean, you go to Shadow Systems, and they tell you right away, right off the bat, and it's in the manual, that they require a 200 round break-in period. There's nothing about this one until you start to have problems and you call in. So again, I think that is unacceptable. One of the things they're talking about is with the 11 round mag, you can have it with a base plate like this, or you can have it with a base plate that has a pinky extension. And there's a video out there, I forgot who made it, that believes that the issue is with the angle of the pinky extension. What it does is when you grab it and you put pressure, like instead of doing it like you should, with most of the pressure going this way, coming from these two fingers, once you engage your pinky finger into that extension, it allows you to put more pressure on that pinky, thus leveraging your gun to make a rocking motion like this. When you squeeze, you see how the gun moves forward? And that's one of the reasons, as a right-hander, the gun is shooting low. And then with maybe not the best fundamentals, with your trigger discipline, when you're pulling the trigger as a right-hander, the tendency is, of course, to go left. So between the two things, between the trigger and between the pressure of the pinky, is making the gun rock down and left when you shoot. So this video, what he did is he removed that pinky extension, just started shooting with a flat, and the problem went away. So you figure, you tell me what you think about that. I didn't have many issues with it. You saw the shooting at the beginning of the video. Also, putting the red dot helps a lot with those issues. So, I don't know. A break-in period that they don't tell you about, service to the gun without any feedback back to the client, and then when you call them, blaming the client. I was very excited about this gun. I was really, really excited about this. When I saw it at the NRA show last year here in Indy, I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. Let me show you something. So it is unloaded, as you all seen throughout the video. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it slide back, we're going to lock it back, and this, for cleaning and maintenance, servicing of the gun, you rotate the lever up, and then you let it go, and you don't have to pull the trigger. Okay, and the gun is apart for service and maintenance. So I know we're not supposed to do that with a gun this, like this, but I just pulled it up like that. There you can see the hammer. So here's the hammer right here. All right. And then when you cock the gun, the hammer goes in there and the gun is ready to go. So now we can see a bit of the internals and the recoil system. Looks very well done. The gun overall looks very well done. And then to put it back together, you just slide it in, lock it back, flip it down, and send it home, and you're ready to go. So that's the inside of the FN Reflex. What do I like and what I don't like about it? I really like the direct mount of the optic. It can barely co-witness, but it does, so I don't have to get into changing sights. I like the fact that there are metal sights, and the front one is night sight. So I like that very much. I like the trigger, I really do. When I was shooting it, it's very smooth. Even though the reset is out further out than I like, to be honest with you, I didn't notice that on the range. I liked it. I like the trigger a lot. I like the texture on the grip, and I like the capacity. So there's a lot to like, at least for me. I'm just telling you my thoughts, my impressions. For me, there's a lot to like about this gun. What I don't like, I don't like the loaded chamber indicator right here. I don't know why manufacturers keep doing that when they put a red dot right here. Just, 150 rounds shot through this, and the front glass was filthy. And that just drives me nuts. I like the capacity. 11 plus 1, 15 plus 1 in this little gun is just really good. So again, going back to what I don't like the loaded chamber indicator up here. I do feel that it's a bit snappy. It's expected for the size, but even comparing it to the 365, to the Hellcat, 43X, excuse me, I think this might be one of the snappier of the bunch. But it comes back to zero pretty quickly, and with a red dot, it's all good. But it's a little snappy. And with everything that has happened, at least with this plus what I read online, I just don't know if I would trust it to carry it. And then the amount of ammo that would require for me to run through it to make sure, or at least to give me peace of mind that it is reliable, I just don't think it's worth it, to be honest. And that is very sad to say, because FN is a very good military contractor that has made some amazing firearms, and a lot of my favorites come from FN. So I'm not hating on FN. I don't know what happened with this one. For $600 and then plus another 500 rounds of ammo to try to figure out whether it is going to be reliable. And the fact that the manufacturer tells you to only shoot 124 grain through it. What if I want to shoot other things? What if I want to take it to the range and practice with 115 or 147? I can't do that without risking malfunctions, according to FN. As excited as I was for this, I think for me it's going to be a hard pass, which makes me sad. So there it is. Those are my thoughts on the FN Reflex. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I would love to know if your experience is different than mine. I just really want to know that. And once again, I apologize for the lighting. I tried to do the best to accommodate the lighting to give you the true color of the gun, and in doing so, some shots may be a little darker than they should be. Also, I'm using a backup camera because my primary camera broke. The screen broke on the back. So I'm waiting for that to be repaired. So there we are, FN Reflex. Let me know your thoughts. As always, I upload videos every Friday morning, and when I can on Wednesday mornings as well. I'm posting on Twitter and on Instagram, although less on Instagram because of their censorship of 2A related content. You can also find me on Rumble. My videos automatically upload to Rumble, so if you'd like to give me a follow there as well. We're getting very close to 20,000 subscribers, and YouTube tells me that about 90% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So if you like what I do here and you'd like to help the channel, clicking that subscribe button and the notification bell is the best way to help me. So I would appreciate that very much. So as always, thank you so much for stopping by, and until the next time, God bless.